Hi guys, so today I want to speak to you about the different categories that you can compete in as a female bodybuilder. So I'm going to bring them up on screen here just to compare and contrast as I go through. So let's get started. So I think I'd like to start with looking at the least muscular all the way through to the most muscular. I personally compete in natural federations such as MPA, Two Bros Naturals and UK DFBA. So I compete in women's bodybuilding. Just to note, there is a big difference in the categories as I run through between the natural federations and the non-tested federations. So that's just something to note if you are looking at choosing to compete in something like NABA or Pure Elite or PCA or something like that. With those different federations, there is a big difference in category. You may have to jump down a category or two if you want to compete in those, if you are competing in natural ones at the same time, if that makes sense. So the least muscular is the Bikini Division, and in this you generally tend to get a novice and a masters. So what they're looking for here is just like a bikini look. Generally they have slightly bigger shoulders, small little waists, and just a nice, pleasing and fitness type look without being overly muscular, and definitely no veins or vascularity. So the second category up from that would be figure. So this is split down into quite a few different divisions. So we have the toned, athletic and then trained figure. And as you go up, you guessed it, they get more muscular. So generally figure, you're looking for a well-rounded physique with the defined muscle definition and muscle bellies, but with symmetry. So the difference between the athletic and the trained would be you don't want to look too muscular, but you want to display some signs of sort of development and symmetry there. Just definitely not vascular. So up from that, we have the third category, which I'd like to run through, which is women's physique. So this tends to be very sort of looks like figure, however they're a little bit sharper, a little more defined, a little more what you call cut. So it tends to just be sort of edging towards what you would consider women's bodybuilding, but just without the mass and the size. Personally, I think that sometimes women's physique looks better than women's bodybuilding, because when you're not holding as much muscle mass, you're not holding as much water inside the muscle, so you look a bit more sort of cut and a bit more defined, if that makes sense. I'll pop a picture up on screen just to show you. When I competed in the UK DFBA, I was on stage in women's physique, and actually I got moved out of that category into women's bodybuilding, but just so you can see the girls compared to me and just see how we compare there. Not to forget the women's wellness category. So generally women in wellness I think look really amazing. However, they generally have a lot of fuller lower body, so fuller quads, fuller glutes, less upper body, just defined. So you've kind of got two halves. You've got the physique / bodybuilding on the bottom, but with a very strong look to it, a very full look. And then up top, you've got sort of like maybe a figure. Like trained figure, I would say, or toned figure look. So this category is really fun, especially if you are blessed in that area. So moving on to the next category then. Moving on to my category, women's bodybuilding then. There is a big difference between women's bodybuilding, the naturals, and women's bodybuilding in even in the amateur ranks in other federations. Not a lot of federations in the amateur ranks do women's bodybuilding. I think mainly because it's not as popular. It's harder as obviously as a female to gain that amount of muscle mass needed for this category. So I am proud to say that I managed to do that all natural. But we're going to pull up a few pro shots on screen as well here, just to show you how this looks in the pro league, and compare that to physique, women's physique as well, and women's figure, between the three, the pro divisions. as you can see, the women's figure is less muscular, and then we go through to physique and bodybuilding, it just gets more muscular and more developed and more defined. So I hope that makes sense, and you can see that on screen there now, and you can see the big difference in the different physiques. Some federations, and this is quite new, but they've started including the fitness category. This has come through more and more as I've seen over the past couple of years. I absolutely love the fitness category. I think it's probably the most athletic. So they do have to have a decent amount of muscle mass, but just not too defined. As you go up through the stages and the categories, from bikini through to women's figure, women's physique and women's bodybuilding, you have to have a mandatory routine as well, and that's generally a 60 to 90 second routine where you perform anything of your choice. Just show off your physique and show it off at its best, show creative poses that are not predetermined by the federation or by the judges, and it's just a chance to express yourself really. But with fitness, you actually have to do like sort of gymnastics as well, which is really cool. So these girls are super strong. So just sort of closing up this video then, some federations also choose to include additional categories which can be quite confusing sometimes. These could include like body transformation award or category, they could include fitness model, and they could include beach body as well. So Pure Elite is the one you want to go to if you're looking towards those sort of categories. Just be aware that some federations call the like figure category, they might call it shape or something like that. It can all be a bit confusing. So the best advice I would give is to basically look at the pictures of previous winners, which can be quite hard to find, which is why I'm making this video. Look at the previous winners and try and sort of stalk the internet for information and then compare yourself. You may find that as your physique changes while you're dieting, that you will decide your category is a different one to the one you thought you were going to be in. So I thought I was going to be in physique at the beginning of 2021 when I last competed, and then I realised at the end I was actually in bodybuilding and got moved up on the day in some cases, like in the UK DFBA category. So where you start isn't always necessarily where you end up. But I hope you liked this video. Please like the video, subscribe, share it with everyone you know who's struggling to find out which category to compete in, even if they've already started their prep. I know I wish I had this sort of video available when I was trying to decide upon my category when I was first starting out. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.